What's going on, chess lover? This is Maurice Bishop, and today I want to show y'all an exciting game between Benjamin Blumenfeld versus Alexander Alekhine. This was a tournament that happened back in 1902 in Moscow. So without further ado, we're actually going to get started. Benjamin Blumenfeld played as white, Alexander Alekhine played as black. All right. So it goes like E4, E5, knight F3, D6, D4, knight B to D7, B3, C6, and for all y'all Black Lion players that play this, definitely pay attention to the opening formations. I can't really say this is a Black Lion, but it's similar, but it's not. You're gonna see why it's definitely different. All right. So Bishop B2, Queen C7, kind of like how I always show y'all my videos with the Black Lion and stuff with Queen C7. Got to maintain this E5 pawn, on here, and then overprotecting it with knight BD7 with the D pawn and with the queen as well. All right. So knight B to D2, knight G to E7. Remind you, y'all, it used to be knight F6 or whatever, but in certain positions like this, because of this long range of the dark square bishop, Alekhine goes knight G to E7, which of course knight G to E7, and then of course he has this square on G6, which he will be protecting the E5 pawn as well, which is over protection, as well as this nice square on F4, which is actually beautiful. All right. So bishop E2 is played. Knight G6 is played, automatically hitting this F4 square, as you can see. Um, White castles, and then bishop E7. Now, I will tell you this. Now, with it's crazy though, man, because I saw uh in Lichess.org, because I do watch other grandmasters play, but I actually seen this is literally the exact same opening with the knight E7 and then G6. But I saw a move where H4 was played instead of castling. I saw H4 was played. And then um he'll go something like knight F4, hitting the pawn on G2, you know, things like that. But of course, I think when I watched this game, it was a pretty slow game and it was very, very long. Um, but it seems like this is like the best move to play. I even analyzed this myself just to see like, if I was playing against the black or if I was playing against the Fildor like this, how would I did it? So my first response was H4, and how ironic, I put it to the engine. The engine also said H4 as well, and then as you can see, G3, black automatically takes on knight catches E2, queen catches E2, and then bishop E7, D catches E5, D catches E5, and then pawn goes to H5, and obviously, well, when I watched this guy, I can't remember his name, but he never castled on the king side at all. Um, when I remember, he never castled. He wound up castling on the queen side. Black still won or whatever, but it was very very close. It was very very close. But I think if you're gonna play like a 97, you need to watch out for this H4 because it gets very very dangerous. Literally, it gets very dangerous. So definitely keep an eye out for that. All right. All right, so let's go back. So white castles, and then Alekhine goes bishop e7, and then a4. Which when it's a formation like this, a4 is literally always played. Not just the beautiful formation, but here's a principle for y'all. If y'all been reading endgame books and everything and things like that, really studying and stuff, they always say the principle is if you're gonna go pawn a4, make sure you have a formation like this. If you have it, this is beautiful. This is really good. This is a really good pawn formation, especially like in the end game and stuff. Because eventually you want to go c3 and then b4, when the end game. So again, and I can't stress this enough. If you're gonna play an opening, right, make sure that your pawn structures are great. You gotta not just think about trying to attack your king. You need to think long term of, you know, if all the pieces off the board, can I win this in the end game? Keep that in mind, y'all. Literally keep that in mind. If y'all don't hear nothing else that I said, pay attention to what I say if you play an opening and you're playing a game and everything, make sure that you can visualize all the pieces off the board except for the pawns, and imagine yourself to see if you can actually win an end game with these pawn structures. Simple as that, man. Because I'm telling you, if y'all pay attention to that, then I'm pretty sure you will make some really great moves and some correct moves. So always think about that. All right, so A4 is played, black castles kingside, and then knight C4, which is a beautiful post. It's not just knight being on c4, but knight also has possibilities of knight e3, threatening knight f5, getting this weak square on f5. So definitely pay attention to all y'all weak squares. Even if it seems like it ain't nothing happening, pay attention to your weak squares, because I'm pretty sure if your opponent knows what he's doing, he's going to go to that square. So you got to pay attention to stuff like this, all right? So what Alekhine does, he goes rook d8, getting the rook on the file, on that d file, because eventually if he decides to exchange pawns and everything, the d catches e5, and then this rook has an open d file, which is great. And as you can see, Blumenfeld actually goes on queen c1 to get out of this d file, especially when a rook is right there. And then Alekhine goes knight f4, getting this beautiful square on knight f4. But also let me tell you something else. You do have stuff like e catches d4 instead of knight f4. But let's look at this. So if e catches d4 and knight catches d4, then you do have a beautiful knight c5. Um, which is also a great move. Now the thing is, instead of here's another thing. In this position, and I don't think Queen C1 was a bad move, but again, this is why I'm gonna put this in the description box. My System by Aaron Izovich. He talks about pawns is not defended and everything. I think the best move would have been rook e1. I'm just kind of going by principles and everything. Um, the whole point is you want all your pieces coordinated. It shouldn't be no pieces undefended, even if it's just a pawn. Unless you really have a strong attack and you know what you're doing, you have a strong attack, fine. But if you're in a strategic or positional play type style or whatever, things like that, you want to go rook e1. And the whole point of rook e1 is to, in the future, guard this pawn on e4. And then after that, then maybe you can go queen c1. So the whole point of this is, like, for instance, e catches d4, knight catches d4, knight c5. So now, as you can already see, the knight is already threatening the pawn on e4. All right. So now everything kind of it gets crazy, because if you go pawn f3, so now you're creating dark square weaknesses. So then again, the center, with this beautiful, oh my goodness, this is beautiful, this nice center, and it's great pawn formation with this, this I ain't gonna say pawn chain, but this nice pawn formation. But also is black hitting in the center. You want to hit it where it hurts, and when you got this weakness. But the whole point of d5 is not just getting in the center and then activating the rook d file. You're not just activating the rook d file, but you're also activating this bishop to potentially get to these dark square weaknesses. So and that's what you want. And certain things like e catches d5, rook catches d5, is beautiful. I think black is great in this position. I think this is just a beautiful. Or let's say bishop f3, which I believe the engine. Now my move was a d5. I thought that was but the engines for this one, like bishop f3. But even with that, you still have this beautiful knight e5 move. So now, you got to protect yourself now. Defend. Because right now, well, yeah, you still gotta go rook e1, maybe a6, because you gotta think of, you don't want your queen to come to g5. And it's not even not the queen going g5, but the how can I say this? You want to, I think a6 is what you want to do. So it'll prevent knight from going to g5, because eventually you may have to go knight captures f3, and then if the knight takes, you're preventing him from going knight g5. Yes, you have the bishop here, but white would love to get this dark square bishop. Simple as that, you know. So if knight catches e5, then you got bishop g5. And then if queen goes to b1, then d captures e5. And then if knight e2, then you have a5. And the reason why I like this position, because as you can see, it seems like black is just controlling the dark squares. Black has this pawn guarding the d4 square, this a5 pawn guarding the b4 square, and this bishop on g5 is guarding these dark square. It almost kind of remind me of an L-shot system feel. I'm not going to say the structure is like an L-shot system, but the whole feel of it is like an L-shot position, which is what I like. You know, black is controlling these dark squares, man. It's just beautiful. But anyway, let's get to it, y'all. After knight f4, rook e1 is played, then knight captures e2, rook captures e2, and then pawn on f6. You know, overprotecting this pawn on e5. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4 pieces overprotecting this pawn on e5, which is great. Aaron Nizovich talks about this a lot, about overprotecting. It's beautiful, man. I'm telling y'all. All right, so knight h4 is played. I think, you know, I kind of liked it knight e3 better. The reason why I like knight e3 better, because you do have stuff like knight f5, hitting the knight f5 square, you know, and then maybe knight h4, you know. Um, white has some options though, but knight h4, I think this was, I ain't gonna say it's passive, but in a way it come off as passive because we can easily kick it off with g6. But not going g6 yet. We can go like knight f8, in which Alekhine does this anyway. He goes knight f8, and then knight e3, which is beautiful, you know, because now you can go f5 or knight h4 to f5, you know, attacking the weak squares, because this is potentially the weak square for black, this f5, you know. All right, so um knight e6 is played, and now black is gonna go to the knight f4 square. But it's not even just that. Black is also attacking the d4 square as well. Whereas white is gonna have to watch out for that. So of course, white is forced to go d captures e5, and then d captures e5. Now this was an interesting move here. Um, D5 was a little interesting. And the reason why I say D5 was interesting is because now this pawn on, or the pawn on D5 is will be guarding this E6 square. Even if you exchange on the pawn will still come back with E captures on D5, and now this pawn will be guarding on the E6 square. And then potentially you could just go knight f5. And if the bishop takes, that's actually what you want, because you could take back with another knight, and then somehow bring the queen over um to these specific squares. So I just think this is I think d5 was something that you can look at. So for instance, if d5 knight f4 hitting the rook on e2, then you do got rook e1, g6, knight f3, um f5. Um I mean, I don't know. I think maybe I'm wrong, because it seems like black would get a big advantage in this. So maybe d5 wouldn't be right. Only because the way I'm looking at it, I was thinking of this e6 square, but I don't think white is going to even be able to even get to there because it becomes strong. So I think a push like that will be wrong. So if you look more to it, with f5, let's say e catches f5, g can go captures f5 instead of the bishop. We don't want to take with the bishop. We want to take with the pawn, because eventually the king can go over and then go rook g8. So I think black will have a big advantage over him, even after knight c4, knight g6, queen d2, and queen f4, or pawn f4. I think black will be I think black is will be dominating in this game. I mean, I'm not saying white is totally lost here, But in this position, man, it if I was white, I wouldn't. If I was white, I wouldn't like playing a position like this. I wouldn't like this position. I think black has a big advantage in this position. Simple as that. All right, so let's look at it here. So D catches E5, then D catches E5. Knight H to F5, Bishop B4, Pawn C3, and then Knight F4, which is a lovely move because with Knight F4, he's not only hitting the Rook on E2. Well, that's really all he's doing. He's hitting the Rook on E2, but he's also threatening Knight catches E2 check, hitting the King and hitting the Queen, which is a fork. And Black would definitely be winning this game. So of course, White is forced to go Rook D2. Bishop captures F5, and then Knight captures F5. Now you're probably thinking why he didn't take on C captures B4. Well, because this E4 pawn would be lost. So for instance, if let's say C captures B4, Rook catches D2, Queen captures D2, then Bishop captures E4. Even if Rook comes to D1, then you have Queen F7. Um, the whole point is really just to uh, guard these light square diag. It's not even just guarding a light square diagonal, but you're also threatening queen catchers B3 as well, which is also pretty yeah, it's pretty crazy. So for instance, if pawn goes to F3, you have the beautiful move bishop D3. You're actually blocking the D file. You know, the queen can't even get to the D or the seventh rank because the bishop on D3 is blocked. Even if you try to chase the knight away, then you have the move queen G6 where this queen is pinning this pawn, so this pawn can't even take the knight on F4. And then if king H1, then you have knight h3, and if king goes to g2, then you have rook d8. So, and as you can see, the king can't take this knight because of bishop f1 check, or better yet, maybe not that way, probably this way will be better. I think this way would be better. Um, but yeah, because now we're threatening rook captures d2, and this would be yeah, this would be all over for white in this position. Even if you decide to go knight captures, and obviously you can't go rook captures d2 because of knight e7, because he'll also win the queen. Um, you don't want to do that. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. You can do that. I'm going to tell you why. Rook captures d2. If you decide to go knight e7, then we'll still have king f7. And you're either going to choose to take this rook or take the queen. But if you decide to take the queen, you're going to lose this rook. And then now, as you can see, this knight is pretty tied up right now. And obviously you don't want to go here because you're really going to trap the knight. So the only best place you can really go is actually knight h4. But I think after rook b1, I just think this is totally winning for black. Yes, um, black only has a rook and white has two pieces, but it's going to be very dangerous once these pawns start getting passed on, all the way down after these pawns are lost. It's just gonna be crazy. Even after rook, oh no, this would even be worse. This would be pretty worse. And the crazy part, they ain't really nothing that the dark square bishop could really go to, because even after this, he has that, and then yeah, man, this is pretty bad. Yeah, I think this is pretty bad. But yeah, I think Black has an advantage with this. He definitely Black has an advantage. Black will win this game. All right, so that's something that y'all can look at, and I'll put all this game in the description box so y'all can analyze yourself. All right, so let's go back, y'all. So knight catches f5, bishop c5. Um, he's targeting the f2 square. Before it's played, bishop f8, rook catches d8, rook catches d8, and then queen c2. And then queen d7, as y'all can see, controlling this d file. It's not like the rook can come here because you'll just drop a rook. So this rook and his queen is phenomenal on this d file, which is awesome. All right. Another move to really look at, which is actually pretty cool, would be on C5. And the reason why I say C5 because this is kind of like a positional um a positional maneuver. I say, and the reason why I say this because, or maybe not, I'm gonna say strategic. It's strategically wise. C5 would be a great move, and the reason why I say that because if C5, then if the pawn decides to go to B5, then you can just push on C4. The whole point is you're just bringing his bishop back on C5, but not just for black to get the dark square areas, but also with pawn on c4, you're blocking this dark square bishop on b2. From You're making the dark square bishop be inactive pretty much. Obviously, the best move for the dark square bishop will probably be bishop c1, and he will want to exchange um, the bishop for the knight because this bishop would be pretty bad and everything. So strategically, I think C4 is a great move, if you ask me. All right, so let's go. All right, so Queen D7 is played. Queen D7 is still a great move. Rook F1, Queen D3. Exchanging the queens, and again, why is and you kind of got to ask yourself why is Alekhine exchanging queens? What does he know that his opponent don't know? Why is he exchanging the queens? Well, the whole point of exchanging the queens is black has the advantage. Black has the open D file. Black has an active knight on F4 and everything. So and this pawn on c3 can potentially be weak, especially after knight e2 and hitting the pawn on c3. Well, he'll do that after, like for instance, let me show y'all. If rook catches, or if queen catches d3, rook catches d3, and now black is threatening knight e2, winning this pawn on c3, which is great. Um, and it's not like you can go rook c1 because of knight e2. So now you're dropping your rook, and black is going to automatically win this. So it doesn't matter how you look at it. I mean, you can go pawn c4 all you want and everything, but after you ain't even got to go rook b3. You could just win this pawn with bishop catches b4. Simple as that. Um, this is the reason why. So again, if you're going to exchange queens, you want to exchange queens with an advantage. So keep that in mind. If you're going to exchange queens with an advantage, and knowing that you're going to win the endgame. This is what Alekhine did. He knew he looked at it for a long term position. Like, okay, if I exchange queens now, I can win this endgame. I can win, and that's what y'all gotta keep. Y'all gotta change your mindset of trying to attack the king and get checkmate. Yes, that's all fine and dandy, but you got to think long term. Think of how you're going to win in the end game. Does he have weak pawns? And if he does have potential weak pawns, how can you attack it? So keep that in mind. Which is another reason why, again, I'll say it again. I still recommend the My System book, as well as y'all need to study y'all end games and everything. This is the only way y'all gonna get strong. All right. So after Queen D3, white sees that black has an advantage, so he didn't want to exchange queen, so he goes queen b3 check, and then king h8. Knight g3 is played because he has to defend this pawn on e4, and then h5 is played, and then bishop c1. Now this is where I think this was a mistake. I believe white should have played h4 to prevent the pawn from getting to h4, but you're gonna see why in a minute. So bishop c1 is played, and then h4. He let h4 get in there, and I think this was it was just crazy. So bishop catches f4, e catches f4, and then knight f5. Knight f5, knight goes back to f5, but this doesn't really do anything now because h3 is played, and then queen e6. Now maybe white should have played g catches h3. Either way, it's still a weakening in the king side, but I don't know, man. I still think black still has a bigger advantage. Because even after queen catches e4, queen b1, queen f3, knight h4, and then queen catches c3, and as you could just see in this position, white is like losing. knight g6, king g8, queen a2, and then rook d5. And it's really no way you can do it. Even after knight catches f4, you thinking white is gonna win this rook. Not necessarily, because after queen d2 and everything, this is just over, man. Um yeah, so as you can see, even the engine says the queen will have to take this queen. Even if you decide to go, I don't know, if you decide to go queen c4, you do have the move on queen catches b4 and everything. And let's say he takes. If he takes, he still got rook g5 check. And then if king, oh my bad, y'all. Um, if king h1, then that's when you can take bishop captures the queen. Simple as that. So pretty crazy, right? So you thinking he's gonna lose a rook? He's not. All right, so let's go back. So after queen e6, ace captures g2, king captures g2, f3 check, king g1, and then can y'all see the winning move for black? I'm gonna just give y'all 3 seconds. Y'all should actually see this already. How Alekhine wins. All right, y'all. If y'all saw this move on queen captures on f1 check, y'all are great. Queen captures f1 is the move that Alekhine played. King captures f1, rook d1, checkmate. So guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this beautiful game. Please like, please share, please comment. Let me know what you think in this game. And also y'all, don't forget to subscribe. All right, y'all. Peace.